Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas, and today is another day in the midst of the sequence of lockdown or staying home days that we all are experiencing in most of the countries, and especially I'm speaking from New York, and the way we end up gathering day after day, the increasing number of people whom we are losing, and at the same time there are people who are working with full dedication wholeheartedly in lifting up the spirit as well as saving physically, literally getting into the danger zone, health workers or many people. And all these things that are happening, the world is emerging as a global village through a virtual reality. And today, as I speak to you, I take this opportunity of welcoming Devanshi Kapadia ji. And Devanshi ji, welcome, namaste.
Namaste. Well, thank you. Thank you, Ashokji.
And why meeting Devanshi ji is so important is she has served the world at large in several countries as life coach. She began her journey of call that acquiring or pursuing the love for knowledge by getting a medical degree in India, but she felt that this is not enough. There is much more to life. So then, for many years now, that she has worked with people outside India also, be it Japan, Hong Kong, Bahrain, London, Dubai, and many other countries. She did her certified course, and I'm just trying to see the exact name. That was family counseling. That was somewhere in Germany. She also did certified regression therapy, and that was in Netherlands. So this quest for knowledge enabled her, along with her sustained spiritual, I would say, journey at various important, powerful energy centers in India, to the stage where talking to her is something which offers an additional perspective of life. Whether you are staying in east or west, you feel that this wholesome perspective of life, of yourself as is unfolded by the presence of Devanshi ji, adds to a sense of harmony and inner equilibrium. So, having said that, Devanshi ji, let's go towards today's days as we are here. We always try to make sense of whatever is happening. So,
Sure.
when you also were traveling from London to India, and you got, I wouldn't say stuck, but now you are staying somewhere in Nigeria, right? Right now.
Yes, I'm in Africa, and this is where this particular time zone, this particular space of human learning and human evolution has chosen for me. To be honest with you, Ashokji, it took me a few days to come to a complete calm, peace, and acceptance of this. So, like me, I think all of us who have gone through this for say more than 30 days or 45 days now, we have actually reached that point where we are now supposed to accept that okay, this has happened. I have been in another place from what I had expected myself. So the first lesson that came through this whole absolutely new experience was to first understand that it is okay to accept that things didn't go the way I had planned, or when I felt um, totally invincible, universe made alternate plans and decided to make me more humbler by giving me a different path. So
So talking
acceptance
about, absolutely.
was my first. Yeah.
So talking about the different path, let's talk about the main path and what we hold so dear to our heart, or we feel that this is how I am arriving at uh, the space where I connect with life in a meaningful manner. then somewhere suddenly something like this takes away that sense of understanding, and you are kind of pushed to sort of try and make a sense of all this. So uh, it happens in normal circumstances also, but especially now, uh, people end up getting towards the anxiety and stress. How to address that?
Yeah, so let's understand that what are we going through, and I'll still go back to our roots in psychology and in mental health awareness, that anything that happens to us which feels out of control, or where we feel that this is not under my control, we typically go through 5 stages. And those 5 stages, first is complete denial. So these are called as the 5 stages of loss. And in this particular situation, we can say that it is 5 stages of unrest, or 5 stages of a disaster, or a 5 stages of something which is humongous loss to the world. So what happens typically, all of us have gone through that stage where we deny, no, nothing is wrong, I'm not going to be affected, I'm going to be all fine. What is this mask, what is this gloves? Nothing. So we pass through that stage of denial, and today everybody in the world understands that however invisible to the naked eye is this virus, there is a strong potency in it to disturb a human life. So then we go through the second stage, which is now understanding and knowing that okay, this is what I accept. I accept that this has happened. I accept that I'm also not sitting right now into that exact space. So acceptance happens. Now, before acceptance, there can be a stage of feeling extremely sad and extremely depressed. So, sadness, depression, anger, irritation, frustration can also become one of the interim stages. Now, whoever has not been directly affected and have been confined to just homes and have actually not gone through a physical experience of the illness, or a near and dear one has not been affected, would probably look at this whole thing that okay, I'm angry, I can't step out, I have to take permission to go for my grocery. It's such a claustrophobic feeling. So that anger and that depression then happens, followed by where we are sitting right now, which is the stage of acceptance, that okay, now this has happened. Now from acceptance, we go to the natural next stage, which is about realigning our disposition. Now what does
Let
it
me
mean by?
let me interrupt you here for a second. And everyone uh, walks up to this stage in their own unique fashion. And if
Sure.
we take two extreme cases, there are some people who accept with a sense of helplessness. There are
Correct,
some
I'm
people,
coming there.
yeah,
Correct.
which you refer to as depression. Some people who
Correct.
accept it with a sense of hope and optimism.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I see that there are more people in the first side where they don't know how it is going to unfold financially for them. Some people have lost their job. If you want to stay
Correct.
there a little bit more as to how to process all this.
Correct. So the denial stage and the depression stage, or the anger stage and acceptance stage, is pretty much passed by us. And now we are at the last two stages. One is where we now are naturally disposing ourselves to a new reality. So people are reading books, people are doing some activities at home, people are looking at how they can restructure the finances at another level. People are looking at how can I take a pay cut but continue to request my organization to keep my job, or how do I use a virtual medium to still show that I can still continue working. There are people who are trying to stay connected. So this whole connection with each other, which has come through the virtual medium, or this wanting to know more or wanting to look at life in a different way, has come as a natural stage 4 of changing your disposition, which will be followed, or some of us are already going through this, where we will make this new way of life as a permanent change, wherein we won't feel the loss anymore, but we will feel that we have now slowly moved to another level of living, a level of consciousness and level of awareness. So stage 4, we are all oscillating right now between stage 2, 3 and 4. The faster we get out of stage 2 and we come to stage 3, the faster we are going to allow the spread of the whole thing to subside, because we'll be so self aware by this acceptance that has come in, and then we'll go and look at alternatives about how I can remodulate my life. Like, what will be the natural outcome? People will decide to do essential travels, people will decide to always look at money with more humility, and by conserving money, people will now realize that nothing is in a state of permanency. There can happen one day where the most busiest cities of the world can be under complete lockdown. So there is a lot of progression happening in the way where each individual is looking at life. So it has come to us as a big loss, but we are all slowly moving towards stage 4 and stage 5. And it's my request to whoever is listening, if you still feel that a part of you is in stage 2 or stage 3, then it's time to allow yourself to involve yourself into something which would change your perspective and change the way you are looking at things.
So the way you look at things, it becomes a little bit simple when you have, if I say the word label, or if you have defined stage 2, stage 3, but you also said that we are oscillating between these stages. I would say
Sure.
that all these stages are fluid in some way. Um,
Absolutely.
and in your various webinars, and you have connected with people across the globe, and you have talked about what cosmos is teaching us through a sense of isolation. And
Correct.
we have always appreciated hugging each other, or so now there is social distance, and
Yes.
you want to socialize, but now you cannot go out. So tell me, personally speaking, as well as what would be your suggestion as to how we should interpret this isolation, and how it is significant.
Yeah, so what I want to what I want us to really understand is that definitely this whole confinement story has the larger purpose of us being with ourselves, because due to social media, or for all the good reasons of all the connectivity that we have, the fast lives that we live, the overseas holidays that we want to take, the best brands that we want to use, our consciousness, our awareness is not as much staying in this body. It is not saying, okay, what do I feel, what do I need? Do I need to have a glass of water with full awareness? Am I eating the bite of my food with full awareness? Today, have I focused on my breathing or not? But we are looking at what the other person is drinking, how much they are eating, what diet the other person is following, what brand the other person is buying, and which is all wonderful because we are learning by observing others. But this constant process of learning by observing others was in a way, or is in a way, was superseding our own learning from ourselves. There is a teacher, there is a master, there is a guru, there is an enlightened soul sitting right inside us, which is our own soul, which knows what is best for us, what is best for our environment, and what is best for our civilization. That soul kept on banging, listen to me, listen to me. I'm feeling confined here, I'm feeling that I'm neglected here, and you're watching everywhere outside. With your chitta buddhi, means with your active awareness, you are watching everything outside, but I want that chitta to look inside. I want your active awareness to look inside. So this confinement has completely upturned our energy structure. Rather than always flowing out, out and out, we have started allowing this confinement to allow us to flow within, within and within. Now it had to be of this format, because if we do not see these physical walls, we wouldn't understand that this body is that physical wall, and we wouldn't understand that I have to stay within, I have to stay within, I have to live within, I have to experience myself within me. So this confinement has come a huge less as a huge lesson of being scattered everywhere, from my work to what's happening with my friends, to how do I make up for the social scene, to how do I look more fit or more vain. From all of that, it has come to how am I feeling within me? Am I feeling okay today, or am I irritated? Did I love my family members enough, or did I go and say a thank you because In spite of whatever, there's still food on the table. So a lot of gratitude, a lot of humility is what this confinement will bring us as a mass consciousness to.
So
We have to be thoroughly observant of how powerful is this nature around us, and how we take that power for granted and we try to destroy it. Well, we have to understand that nature still wins the race.
So nature wins the race. And talking about nature, talking about cosmic cycle, referring to planetary positions, and many astrologers talked about special combination of the planetary positions on probably 25th December or something, and there were some predictions that something unusual is likely to happen, and that we have seen. So keeping that in mind, believing that there is some relationship between the way we experience and the way the planets are moving and their interrelationship in terms of their position, etc. So that makes us become more aware that we are interrelated. But at the same time, Devanshiji, that also puts us in another mode of thinking where we feel that if planetary position is making everything go, then do I have any free will? What control I have or whatever I'm doing?
Yeah. So let's look at it from the terms of the moon. So moon is causing tides in the oceans of earth, and we are 70% water. So the moon is also causing tides in us. Now, some of us live life 30 days, 28 days of the month as if everything is same, everything is stationary, everything is moving on its own. And there are some of us who are sensitive during certain moon days, whether it's a full moon or the new moon. Probably we are a little more edgy or a little more silent or a little more teary. So should we say that planetary positions and moon does not have an effect on us? Well, if we deny that, that means we are denying the gravitational force, and we are denying that there is no solar system. So coming out of that denial, let's accept that okay, there is an effect of gravitational force of the moon and the planets on us. Now we have to understand that something so massive has happened because there are a big bunch of planets which are in a particular position right now. But this planetary position is an innocent position. It was going to affect all that is around it in a certain way. Now we as an earth, we as human consciousness have gone far beyond in thinking that we have an answer to every question or we have a solution to every problem. So the problem right now is about the virus, or is it because of the planetary position? Well, both of them could be linked, both of them could be very independent, because a virus in itself also, if you look at it, is just a protein molecule. And if you look at the planetary position, what they are doing, they are just doing their job to move in exact orbits that they have to. So this is all about understanding that all these changes will continue to happen around us. What I feel, and this is my personal opinion, that if something has to again realign itself, whether in end of May or again in December, we just have to be aware that what we face through right now will not be a repetition of it, because right now an average human being is much more aware than they ever were. We were caught into this whole thing like in complete arrogance, complete ignorance, and complete unawareness. From here onward, if the planets have to realign itself to bring about the similar pull on the gravitational force of earth, will still be able to handle it much better.
So we should handle everything in a better way with more learning. Um, that is a continuous process in our lives. And Devanshi, whether we are in the middle of these kind of challenging, unusual circumstances or not, there are many questions which sometimes are unanswered. For example, especially these days, you don't know why a boy who is 27 years with no medical history, he got coronavirus. He was affected, and we lost him. There are some people who didn't travel anywhere, but somehow they met somebody, they got it. What I'm trying to say is there something to do with our previous lives? And you talk about metrics sometimes. So, in the context of what we are collectively experiencing, do you see it has some thread related to um, each soul's journey in the
Yeah,
context
yeah,
of
absolutely.
multiple births?
Sure, sure, Ashokji. So, focusing from the macro reality of Earth, if I have to focus on the micro reality of an individual, what will that individual go through will be determined by say two or three factors. One is how what is their emotional state, because emotional states are directly responsible for neurotransmitters and hormones in the body. Now, the neurotransmitters and the hormones in the body, or the immunoglobulins in the body, are the fighter cells of the body. If there is an emotional state of anger, depression, suppression, even before this virus had happened, because of your own personal circumstances, if this has happened, then for sure, definitely, you are going to have a compromised immunity. And no matter whether you're 27 or you're 47 or you're 87, this virus will contract. And people who are feeling lonely, people who have been feeling suppressed, people who have been feeling as if they are victim, are the people who are getting maximally affected. So I've been talking to a couple of friends that what are people generally talking when they have the virus, what is their answer. Or I saw a few videos about some patients making their own videos and posting. Well, there is a state of victimhood which is very predominant in these people personally, which is going to in turn affect their immune system, and definitely they will be susceptible to a disease like this. That's the first factor. A second factor, like you asked me, whether it's something to do with your karmas from another life, or whether it's something to do with the matrix of life, which is the extended karma of the family, or which is the extended karma of your ancestors. Well, all of these will definitely play a role. So if in your soul journey, if in your history of consciousness, if there is a possibility of you wanting to experience vulnerability, victimhood, wanting to experience what it means to be not at fault and yet be suffering something. So then if there anybody has a magnet of suffering through their past life karma, then definitely they are also very strong, very strong potential for attracting something like that. And similarly it was for the world wars. Whoever was victimized in the world wars, whoever were the soldiers in the world wars, whoever got either injured or killed into the world wars, also had to do with something which they were carrying in their own energy, in their own karmic story, where they had to feel wronged, they had to feel. Now how should the other person respond to this? Well, if a person is going through treatment, just let them be aware that the strength lies within you, and you can change your story, you can change your history. The suffering can be 1 minute or it can be for a lifetime. Time doesn't matter, you just have to experience that suffering. So that's number two. Number three, also, it is affecting people who are having a lot of trauma from the childhood. So if there are people who are living, who have come from traumatic childhood, traumatic past, and actually at that point of time right now, where they are feeling even less supported, or they're feeling as if they have been stranded, or they're feeling as if they have not been taken well care of. So if those people can actually once again connect to their parents, connect to their siblings, and just have a healthy conversation. Hey, how you feeling? Are you feeling okay? I send my best wishes to you. I send my love to you. So at this point of time, if some part of your childhood story, some part of your family story can be healed, then by self awareness, then it will definitely solve the individual story. So whoever is feeling at an individual level effect of any of this, whether the direct virus or whether somebody in the family, definitely you're going through these three processes simultaneously. One is some childhood trauma, another is one lesson that you have been subjected to learn through this lifetime, through your karmic backlog, and the third one could be the suppressed immunity because of a negative emotion that you have been harping for say 8 years, 10 years, 15 years long standing.
So change your story. Very simple. I just put it in slightly jovial, lighter manner, and that opportunity is unfolded for us by these unusual circumstances. And as we move towards the concluding part of our conversation with Devanshi Kapadia ji, who is a life coach, and she's serving in this virtual world across the globe on her way from London to India. Right now, she's talking to us from Nigeria, and I want to repeat that she's also certified family counselor practitioner, as well as certified regression therapy practitioner, and all that she has learned has helped her help many people. And as we conclude this conversation with lots and lots of thanks to you, Devanshi, in these days, once you compose yourself on your way back home at Nigeria and you started connecting with people across the globe, you got to hear from many of them about their concerns. And sometimes, even though one feels that one has known everything, but probably these special days has brought a new lesson for you individually. What would that be?
Yeah, my individual lesson is again to keep myself in a state of alignment, to not get anxious, and when questions start bombarding, that what to do about stocks and what to do about a family member, then it's always about every message of fear reminded me that I need to be less fearful. Every message of fear reminded me that I have to just wish that my parents, my family back home, they are safe, they are fine, they are well taken care of. Honestly, Ashokji, this space has given me a intense introspection about my faith and my trust, because in this space where I am, I have to extend faith and trust, and for that I needed to first build it fully for myself, because unless and until I felt that I'm fully in trust that this all will be here for a while and it will also move on, bringing us into a better space, I couldn't have extended that faith and that trust to others. So it's taken me a lot of introspective moments, and I'm continuing to work on my faith and trust with every possible moving day, that okay, this person will be fine, my parents will be fine, I will continue to be safe, there will be a plane which will eventually go from Nigeria to India. So these kind of faith building uh, faith building statements or faith building affirmations is really helping me continue on this path.
But also, I'm reminded of a song from film. I think it was Anurodh कि तुम बेसहारा हो तो किसी का सहारा बनो तुमको अपने आप ही सहारा मिल जाएगा. And this is incredible that she herself is facing a lot of uncertainty in some way, uncertainty in terms of when is she going to go back home, but she made Nigeria, the place where she is right now, as her home, connected with that unshakable stability within, which helped her connect with others and extend that sense of assurance and stability. So I applaud you for that, as well as congratulate you and thank you. And I also share these this line which came to me from my guru. In one of his expression, he said, "You are full and beautiful." So,
Thank you, Ashokji.
so may that
Thank you so much.
so may that fullness and beauty continue to be a part of experience for each and every one of us, by introspection and by being truthful, as was highlighted by Devanshiji again and again. And what is that truth? We'll talk to her about it at length some other day. But once again, those who joined us, I want to thank and extend my good wishes and gratitude for their presence. And Devanshi, thank you very much with lots of good wishes. This is
Thank you, Ashokji. Thank you so much. Thank